stabbed or injured so many men that I was like, I don't know how you're still in business. That said, oh my God, I cannot stand her family. It's just a rough start to the year, y'all. Why, hello there. It is time to start another reading vlog. And this time we're mood reading some dark romances because as much as I love a theme as the rest of y'all, I just can't bring myself to honestly come up with one or plan for one. And I need the mental break to just vibe with whatever I'm vibing with. This past month, I have felt so disconnected from y'all because I haven't had a chance to vlog just because of travel. Also, it just didn't really fit in the schedule because I had to do all of my end of the year videos. This past month has been quite a lot. Unfortunately, I've just been dealing with a lot of heavy stuff, a lot of very emotional things. And so it's been really exhausting to have that on top of travel. Okay, I'm going to apologize in advance for the vague references about upsetting things that have been happening in my life. I know it can be irritating when people are vague like this on the internet, but a lot of this news just isn't mine to share. So I really hope that you guys can understand. I'm really trying to strike a balance between like personal privacy and also sharing what's going on with me. Anyways, let's get back to it. But it has led to me being very distracted. I sprayed my entire upstairs thinking that I was spraying Febreze. It was bleach. I sprayed bleach over the entire upstairs of my house. Somehow my carpet survived. I don't understand how that happened, but if that doesn't tell you how much I got percolating up here, I don't know it will. All that to say, not a very structured plan. Hoping to just kind of like get back on track with life. Hopefully get your allergy meds figured out, my man. So the first book though that I think I am going to read now that I've just dumped on you guys is is it Wrath or War? God of War. Reason I wanted to read this one. So I actually have been meaning to give the Legacy of God series another go. My history with Rena Kent's books, and specifically that series, it's the only books of hers that I've attempted to read, has been really mixed. I read like maybe the first couple chapters of God of Malice, probably years ago now, and DNF'd it almost immediately. I just was not down with it. And yet so many people that I love and respect and have similar reading tastes to currently love that series. So I'm like, I don't know if that was a timing thing. I've gotten into some real dark stuff since then, or if I really just don't like that book. In fact, I think I've even said that I would not try and read that book again. Don't hold me accountable for anything when I say stuff like that. So I have attempted to read that book. And then I also did successfully read the God of Fury, the book in that series, and really liked that. Really, really liked it. So I'm hoping God of War is going to get me back into that series. And then maybe if I like it, I'll give God of Malice another go. Let's not be too hasty. But the reason I wanted to read God of War is because I was watching somebody's best of the year books. I couldn't tell you who. At this point, I've watched so many of those videos. They're the best. I love people's wrap-up videos. They were talking about how that book, God of War, has the amnesia trope. And I love the amnesia trope so much. I just don't see it a lot in dark romances or contemporaries. I feel like I see it a lot more in historicals. So when I can find a book that has it, I'm so excited about it. And I haven't read one in a minute, but basically my understanding is that the hero and heroine have known each other for years and years. Like maybe they're family friends or something along those lines. And she, at one point, had a crush on him, but then he, I guess, must have like brutally turned her down or something. But regardless, they don't really get along anymore. And she kind of antagonizes him, kind of like tries to just like stir up trouble in his life because I'm assuming he must have done something kind of shitty. But also like the heroes in these books are like supposed to be like sociopaths. So I feel like it's reasonable to surmise that maybe he's not the best person. But she ends up picking a fight with him, or they end up having a fight at a club, and then she goes to drive home and then wakes up 2 years later. And he was like, hey, wifey, ready to go home? I was like, oh, that sounds juicy. I'm really excited to read an amnesia story again. And then I guess we'll figure out what we're going to read next as we go, but we'll see how this one goes. Hopefully good. I will warn you, been DNFing a lot lately, and not in a way that I'm just like hating what I'm reading. It's more so like I'm either not in the mood for a lot of books. It hasn't been what I've been expecting, or it's just like an average book. Like it's not bad, but I'm like, why would I waste my time on a 3-star when I could be reading a 4 and a 5-star? You know what I mean? With the limited time that I do have to read, I want to be reading bangers. Just a heads up, I will not be held accountable if I just immediately DNF anything. That's just where I'm at the moment. I am going to get to reading and then we'll see where the books take us. See you soon. Why, hello there. So, Haggard, the friendly ghost, is coming at you live. Yeah, I'm looking a little rough this morning because I'm moving really slow. And also, I have a really horrible breakout going on. So I'm trying to avoid putting makeup on. Hence, I look like a ghost. But not the point. You're here for an update on God of War. And I'm here to deliver that. I'm actually not as far in as I was hoping to be. So I thought I was going to give you an update at like the 50% mark. But this book is lot longer than I realized. So we're doing 25% mark update because honestly, I have stuff to say about this book already. Good news, the vast majority is actually quite positive. I'm having so much fun with this mystery. I don't know how I wasn't really putting these pieces together, but I think when I explained what the book is, for some reason in my head, I was like, she had the accident and she was comatose for 2 years. I don't know how I thought she got married while she was comatose. She just has amnesia. She apparently had that accident, which no one remembers, so that's its own mystery. And then there's just like a blank slate for 2 years, and then she wakes up in this hospital after having some sort of mental health issue, it seems like. And Eli's like, all right, babe, let's go home. And I can't tell yet if it's like he's trying to genuinely help her because girlfriend clearly has some drug and alcohol issues along with her mental health issues. I can't tell if this is his version of like really trying to help her, but he's just not good at it because, he's not all right upstairs. Or if he genuinely was like, this was supposed to be a business deal that has gone really, really wrong for me. Because that's what he's claiming the marriage is more of a business transaction. I feel like her safety has to be in jeopardy in some way because I'm like, that must have contributed to the accident that she remembers that no one else knows about. Because why else would she keep secrets from the rest of the people in her life unless she was like trying to protect them? Everyone around her, it seems like, doesn't have a lot of insight into what's going on with her. They're mostly like party friends and like her good friends, even those people she really kept a lot of secrets from. I think it's interesting. The hero is written in a way that usually I don't love, where he has a very intense inner dialogue about how he's got no heart. He's so cold. Normally I don't like that because usually what happens when heroes are written like that is then they act inconsistently with how they talk about themselves. He's acting really loving and caring, and that's pointed to as like, see, the heroine's different. And then I just read that as, why is this hero so inconsistent? But this hero is actually a massive asshole. It's very much consistent with his inner dialogue. No conflicting information here. So I'm actually kind of liking him because of that. He is really trying to clamp down on the heroine though, and that is driving me a little bit crazy. It does make me a little bit worried because he's trying to control her so much. I'm worried I'm going to get a little bit bored because he basically wants her to stay like in the house, only around a couple of people, and not go out or talk to anyone. I have a feeling if that doesn't change soon, I'm going to feel a little bit squashed and a little bit suffocated because she's hanging out with the staff. And I'm going to be honest, I don't give a shit about the staff. I want the hero and heroine to interact, and they haven't been doing a ton of that. There's been some, but not a ton. Also, on that note, the banter is just okay. I just want it to be like a little bit better. Like some of the comebacks, I'm just kind of like, oh, we could have done something so fun there, and it just didn't quite deliver. That's okay. I'm still enjoying their interactions. The heroine, I feel a little bit more mixed about, only because she feels very immature in a lot of ways, and this is age gap. She is, 5 years younger than him? So not a huge one, but I mean, she's in her 20s, so that's honestly kind of a big age gap in your 20s. It is a little bit frustrating because she doesn't seem to be very interested in getting too many answers about what's happened to her. Her priority seems to be just antagonizing Eli and getting away from him, rather than like trying to eke out some information from the staff that she is around quite a bit. Why are you not like digging into it more? Like she is a little, but how can you not want to know what happened in those past 2 years? Instead, she's almost like trying to pretend like those 2 years didn't happen and don't matter, and that she can just kind of continue to operate how she did back before the accident she remembers. And then also, one of the things that's really starting to irk me, and I want to be clear, it's not because it's the color pink. I just think that making your love of a certain color your entire personality is really immature, and it's really starting to grate on me because everything has to be pink constantly. We're getting so many things about how everything in her life is some shade of pink, and I just frankly don't give a fuck. Liking a color's not a personality trait. She's got so many other interesting things about her that I just care so much more about, that this discussion of her loving a color so much is just driving driving me a bit bonkers. That's where I'm at for the moment. I'm going to continue reading and update you. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe at the 50% mark. I guess we'll just see how the rest of this book goes. But I will see you soon. Why, hello there. Yes, it is I, in my living room once more, in another fluffy, cozy. This is pretty much my uniform in January. I'm cold and I can't be bothered. This is usually when the seasonal affective disorder really starts rearing its head. It's a little bit of that going on. It's a lot of bad news, a lot of not great news going on. Unfortunately, the most recent thing has been Kevin had yet another allergic reaction. And because dermatologists for cats, that is a thing, in fact, are booked out so far, we are having to put him on a long-term medication instead because he keeps scratching himself so bad that he is bleeding and also keeps giving himself ear infections, a trend that apparently we're going to be bringing into the new year. So we're getting that sorted out. But he's just been feeling really crummy, and that's always kind of on the back of my mind, along with some other more like personal things. There's just a lot going on with my friends, unfortunately, and family, and it's just a lot of tough news and tough things have happened in just rapid succession. Basically, any news that I've gotten in the past 2 months has not been positive other than my sister-in-law getting engaged. And I'm so excited for her. Honestly, just talking about that actually kind of put me in a good mood. Now that I've gabbed your ear off, I did finish God of War. So I was excited because right around the time that I had updated you, I was like, oh my gosh, the heroine's really isolated. We're not getting a lot of interactions between hero and heroine. And finally, those end up picking up shortly after I updated you. She started getting out of the house a lot more. We did get a flashback to the incident that caused them to kind of like be in conflict. And that scene was so uncomfortable. I get why it was included, but it was like in excruciating detail. And you know what's going to happen. She's going to get rejected. So the whole time you're like, girl, don't do it. Don't do it. But as far as like the actual mystery or like filling in the gaps of what happens in the next 2 years, you get little bits, but honestly, it pretty much all comes towards the end. It plays into the third act conflict. I wish we had gotten just like a little bit more build up with that, because like I did like that the hero and heroine were like having these interactions and having these moments. They were like going out places and he's standing up for her and showing his love for her, I guess, in a very psychopathic way. Like seriously, this guy stabbed or injured so many men that I was like, I don't know how you're still in business, because someone like looks wrong and this guy's like, whatcha? It's a little much, my guy. I don't know. I feel very mixed about this book. There was like certain parts where I was like, really was kind of like, okay, this is a little bit boring. This is a little bit average. And then there was other parts where I'm like, oh, this is juicy. I really like this. I'm having a good time. And I did finish it fairly quickly considering how long the book is. Like I felt compelled to read the entire time, right? Probably because of the amnesia plotline. But a couple things that did bother me a little bit. The heroine just felt a little too immature. They have this weird dynamic in their relationship where to get his attention, she kind of throws temper tantrums and tries to provoke him so that he has some sort of emotional response and just like gets up in her face, because otherwise he ignores her. But that just made her feel like so childish. And that did get frustrating at times because it's like, I wanted to be on her side. I felt like she had valid reasons for being upset. But then when she throws a temper tantrum, I'm like, oh, I'm a little bit less on your side. And then she started kind of like getting over that. And it was more of like, it turned into more kind of like playful bratty behavior, which was fun. But then in the third act, it became immature again. Like towards the end of the book, I was like, oh, we just like completely regressed. She really ends up pushing the hero away for good reasons. Get away. And he listens. And then she's like, well, my ego won't allow me to ask him back. What are you talking about? He did what you asked. The maturity of the heroine really did grate on me. That third act is actually, minus the immaturity from the heroine at certain parts, that was pretty heavy. That was a heavy one. It's kind of similar to God of Fury in that you know that there's mental health issues going on throughout the book, but the heft of them is really felt in that third and kind of like fourth part of the book. Hold on, I actually do have to take my cozy off. For some reason, whenever I sit down to film, I get really warm and I don't know why. It's just when I film though. Like if I go back and sit on the couch, I'm gonna need to put that bad boy back on, but I digress, not the point. One thing that I'll note is that if you are like me and can't be bothered to read anything in order, there are a lot of check-ins and updates and time spent with characters from previous books. There's a lot of couples we're checking in with, and I did feel like that slowed down the story at a certain point because because couples are not so different that their updates are that interesting. I think if you had been reading the series throughout, maybe you'd really like that, but it really slowed down the story because I was like, get back to the main couple. The epilogue was literally just a list of weddings that were taking place. I was like, I don't need that. But again, that could just be because I haven't read it in order, and so then it bothers me more. I don't know. That's kind of my overall feelings. I have a lot more that I could talk through, but honestly, I'm feeling a little bit low at the moment, so I think I'm just gonna kind of cut myself off here. And the next book that I am planning to read is 5,000 Nights of Obsession by Drethy A. I think this one might be under Drethy Annis. I know she's gone by both names, and I don't know which one this is under, or if she just like switched to Drethy A entirely. I honestly have no idea. But it is a dark Great Gatsby retelling. And New Year's always makes me think The Great Gatsby because it's like, you know, parties and fireworks and glitz and glam and champagne. And that is all I have for updates for you. I will check in when I'm a little bit further in and have more to update you on. See you soon. Well, hello there. So hopefully the cooking noises are not too aggressive. I'm just making a little bit of dinner, but I wanted to update you on 5,000 Nights of Obsession because I actually know what's going on now because I'm like 25% in. Basically, we have Pia, who is our stand-in for Daisy, and her and Jay have been married for about 13 years. They recently moved back to New York City because like something with his business didn't really go that well in Chicago. Not really clear. They're trying to kind of like re-up on some of their contacts. And so they attend this very elaborate party. These parties are kind of like all word of mouth. It's the only way you get invited. Everyone's sort of there, but it's only like the who's who. Her husband's like, please, let's go to this. I need to, I know people that are attending. Like, this is going to be a good opportunity for me. I want you on my arm. And so she ends up going. But their marriage is like not doing the best.
Hello. So it turns out I was not that clear that I am now transitioning to be talking about a past timeline. And what I've talked about up to now is the present timeline. Hopefully the rest of this makes so much more sense after clarifying this. Okay, let's get back to it.
Now, interestingly, about the time that her parents were really trying to get her to marry Jay, because they're like, girl, you suck at picking men. But she's like bad at picking them in kind of a naive way. And she's also like klutzy. So they're just like, we just need you to get your crap together. Can you just like get it together? And so she's really like, oh, I'm going to go after this Jay guy. But around that same time, she was at her brother's wedding. And she ended up running into a DJ, like the wedding DJ, like not a DJ that's playing at like an event or has like a show or anything like that. Like he's a wedding DJ. And he's the moody, broody type. They kind of have this connection across the room. And she's like, oh, crap, this is the exact type of guy my parents have been telling me not to go after. And so she's trying to stay strong. She's going to go after Jay. She's spending time with Jay. But this DJ keeps kind of coming over. That DJ is the man that's been hosting these parties because now he's a very famous actual DJ, and he sees her at the party and he's like, yep, it's back on. I changed my mind. Let's do this. So he's just starting to get real obsessed, and I think they're stalking. So that's where I'm at for the moment. Just a real brief update. I'll update you maybe at another midpoint when I have a little bit more of a sense of my feelings about the book. But so far the setup's fun. There's a few moments where there's been some kind of clunky writing, but nothing too terrible. So I'm having a good time with it. I will see you soon. All right. I just so badly want to get through this clip. I'm not joking. I have filmed this probably about 20 times. I've experienced an interruption every single time. I just want to update you guys because I'm now 40% into 5,000 Nights of Obsession, and I'm going to go ahead and DNF it. Why? How did I arrive at this decision? So the last clip that you saw me in, I was just about ready to head out to a Seattle Kraken game versus the Vancouver Canucks. It's a late game. They went into overtime. They lost in a shootout. So a lot of energy expenditure. We're having a good time, but we're getting to bed late, right? So I get up the next morning, start reading this book. We're past the setup of it. I'm like, uh-oh. I don't think I like this. Then I was kind of like, okay, wait, hold on. Maybe you're just tired. Maybe that's the issue. And so I was like, all right, we're going to give it a second. So I tried coming back to it later, and it's just not working. I think it's a me thing, and I don't want to like read more of this, get like bitter and snarky towards this book, because again, I don't think it's actually that bad. It's just like not my speed. like on so many levels. Hopefully I can do a good job of explaining that so you can figure out whether or not this will work for you. Because I think a lot of this y'all could probably get past. One of the things that I started noticing is that the writing is a little bit over-explanatory, and that is kind of a big pet peeve of mine. So like most people could probably look past that. I was getting really frustrated because especially when it came to like the more like stalkerish tendencies, the over explaining was really grating on me because it wasn't focused as much on the like feeling and like the eerie nature and like, oh my God, how did he get in? And this is so scary. It was focused on like more of the logistics. And I'm like, that kind of like ruins the feeling and the energy. And then in general, I just didn't really like how the stalking obsession aspect was really executed. I wasn't really vibing with that. He is immediately just really up in her business and making contact very blatantly. And I, with like obsession and like kind of more of that like stalkerish feel, I really like when there's like more mystery to it, where he's doing things to like drive her towards the choice he wants her to make. Or psychologically, it's kind of messing with her because she's like, I'm smelling his cologne everywhere. Like, what's this about? Like, is he following me or I can feel eyes on me? I like that a lot more than just being like, you should leave your husband. And then him showing up and being like, I want a bone. I don't know. It just kind of removes any build or tension. It's just not my speed. It's not my speed. And then the other thing I'm really struggling with is that in the past timeline, I just cannot make sense of the heroine. She's described by herself and also by her family as pretty naive and sheltered. So it made her bad at picking men, so she picked all these wild men. I'm kind of getting mixed signals and messages from her. She's like, I need to clean up my act and I need to be better about like picking the right type of guy, making better decisions, getting my crap together. And then also at her brother's wedding, she's already ruined, by the way. She's already done a couple things. Not that it's like totally ruined, but she's like done some stuff to kind of like wreck it. So instead of like trying to reconcile with her family or like making good with her brother, she whips out her bucket list at the reception. And it's got everything on there from like trying to shotgun a beer to like going to a live sex show. So we've got a variety of things. Are you trying to live a wilder life, live life on the edge, and saying like, screw it to your family, how dare they try and tamp you down? Or are you trying to listen to what they have to say? I'm so confused about what is motivating her, about why she's making the choices she's making. I cannot make sense of her in this past timeline. So I'm just getting really frustrated with that because I can't make sense of any of that. I even went and reread the part where the bucket list got introduced. I was like, surely I've missed something. And I didn't. I'm going to DNF. I think it'll work for somebody else. I just don't want to pick it up. I keep having opportunities to read and I don't want to grab it. I don't know what I want to move on to though. So I'm going to read the beginnings of a couple of different books. I'm kind of conflicted. There's a couple of like pretty hyped books that I kind of want to read, but because I've already read God of War, I'm kind of like, all right, we've already got one of those in here. So maybe I need to read like an underrated author or someone with a smaller following, but I want to read what I want to read. I don't know. So I'm going to go suss out what kind of mood I'm in and try not to overthink it. But I will be back and let you know what that book's all about. See you soon. Hello. So it's been a couple days since I updated you. A lot has happened for me personally, actually, and I've gotten some reading done. So this weekend was the first time in a really, really long time. Hold on, I need to be getting ready for this video. I keep forgetting to put on makeup. It was the first time in a long time that my husband and I have had 0 plans. So all we did was sit at home, and except for the fact that it ended up being kind of stressful. Evan is on a new medication for his allergies, and unfortunately he is experiencing dizziness and nausea side effect pretty hard. He's kind of losing his balance, he's throwing up a lot, so I've been having to monitor him really closely. He's also not feeling well, so he constantly wants to be like on top of me. He's actually like napping like right down there right now, which is the only reason he's not in this shot, but he hasn't not been sleeping well, which means I haven't been sleeping well, which has just been kind of a bummer. And then it just felt like everything in my house was breaking all at once. So we had that tree at the beginning of the video. Yeah, she's almost dead. So I've tried desperately to save her. I am going to have to take a cutting and then just like yank the rest of that out and get a new tree for that pot. One of the nights that I did not sleep well because he was throwing up, I also got woken up hellaciously early because one of our fire detectors, the batteries in it died and it just wouldn't stop chirping. And so I had to get up and take care of that. And then it turns out it wasn't the batteries. the whole smoke detector needs to get replaced because I put in brand new batteries and it's still beeping at me. So there was that. And then we had our kitchen sink start leaking because I guess the garbage disposal just decided it no longer wanted to be among the living. It started leaking everywhere. So we discovered that late last night, right before bed, you know, sweet dreams me. Thankfully, we didn't run our dishwasher, which is connected to that sink, because that would have been a true flood. That would have been horrible. But my husband had washed dishes that evening, so it was pretty damp, but not as bad as it could have been. And then on top of all of that, we had kind of a sad family event that was on Friday. Turns out it's sad, even when you prepare for it. So that sucks. Even though it's like so happy to be like relaxing, there's like a little part of me that's just got this constant sense of dread. And I'm just feeling like, what's the next thing that's going to go wrong? By the way, with Kevin's allergies, I am in contact with his vet. We are working through some of this. She is aware, so we're making sure I'm staying on top of it, monitoring his food, water intake, all that. So don't worry about that. But yeah, that's just it's been a little bit more stressful than I wanted it to be this weekend. Anyways, you're here for an update because I did decide that I was going to read the Cora Riley book that was on my TBR, Bound by Honor. So I thought about trying to read another smaller author or just find someone that maybe needed, you know, maybe is a little bit more underrated. But honestly, I just need something that's going to go the way I kind of know it will go. This one is perfect because you know what? It doesn't have a ton of plot. The basic premise of this bad boy, Arya is the daughter of the capo in Chicago. And Luca is the son of the capo in New York. So they both are dealing with the same issue, right? The Russians and the Taiwanese and all these other like mob mafia groups are kind of encroaching on their territory. So they're like, we should team up. And we're going to do that through an arranged marriage. There is a significant age gap. So at the time that this is announced, Arya's 15. So thankfully, we wait 3 years, you know, so she can finish school and not be a minor. So that's great. Do love that. But there is a significant age gap. We've also got a virgin heroine, so if that bugs you, definitely skip this one. Basically, Arya got selected because she was going to be coming of age soon. And then also she is known for her looks and she's actually blonde, which fun fact, for anyone who didn't know, there's a lot of Viking DNA in Sicily, so there's quite a few blonde people. Now you know how that can happen. So anyway, so she's this like gorgeous blonde, and they're like, so she's kind of like coveted for multiple reasons. Basically, are following her. It's single POV from the time she finds out up through the wedding, and then her moving into his penthouse in New York, and like trying to figure out how to be a couple because it's an arranged marriage. They knew absolutely nothing about one another. They had almost no contact. And the only things they really know about each other are like what other people have told them. So they're building a lot of their relationship based on assumptions of what they've seen from other people, what they think the other person wants, what they assume the other person is like. And so it's caused a lot of miscommunication or just lack of communication because they are making so many assumptions. It's kind of two sides of the same coin. Other thing that I will warn you, there is cheating in here. So just be forewarned if you don't like that, that is in there. But overall, I'm enjoying it. It's kind of giving me that feeling where it's like sucking me in enough that I'm like forgetting that I'm reading. I'm just getting wrapped up in the story. That said, oh my God, I cannot stand her family. Her dad sucks. I mean, he's a mafia dude. He's selling his daughter off. That's a funny story. I actually, when I went to go mark this as the book that I was reading, I saw someone back in 2014 in their review was just like, oh my God, the horror, like pearl clutching. What man sells off his daughter to be married? It gave me the giggles. I was like, what did you think was going to happen in a mafia romance? Did you not read the blurb? It's right there. I digress. Yeah, her family annoys the shit out of me. Specifically, all of her siblings. I hope they all drown in the Hudson. The younger two sisters, Gianna and Liliana, they're so naive. They go about being naive in very different ways. Liliana is sort of like sexualizing herself and not realizing like, hey, that's not a great idea. Gianna, who is slightly older, she's a firecracker, but she's got the moral superiority that only a teenager can possess. I need her desperately to just like shut her mouth. She comes across so young, and it's making Arya feel really young when she's around her sisters. And that just like increases a little bit of the ick factor. When she's not around her siblings, she's fine. She is a little bit immature still. There's like been a couple of things where I've kind of been like, okay, that decision making could have been better. But I'll give her a pass because it's not nearly as bad as when she's around her sister. Oh, one thing I did want to say, the blurb makes it sound like she's got this plan to like seduce him and everything. No, she's flying by the seat of her pants. She is very afraid of him because he is known for being quite violent. He kind of got up in the neck region on a family member, not even just like a colleague. The blurb makes it sound like she's going to try and like seduce him and like, and make him fall in love with her. No, she's not. She's just like moment to moment trying to figure out how to just live with him. It's not a grand plan. It's very character driven. And then the last thing that I just thought was kind of funny. So at one point, Luca does take Arya out on a date because they're like trying to get to know each other, trying to figure things out, trying to make this work. And they're at a restaurant and he's described as 6'5". It sounds like he's pretty fit. Arya, in her mind, she's like, oh my gosh, the people at the tables nearby are staring at him because they probably think he's too big to fit in that chair. It makes me laugh because my husband, I don't know why you would know this, is 6'4". He is a tall guy. He's a weightlifter, very active. He's a big dude. 6'4" and 6'5" are like not freakishly tall. Like they're tall, but they're not that tall. That's not why they're looking, Arya. It made me laugh because I was like, that's not why they're looking. It's probably his presence. He's probably very intimidating, big scary man that's coming towards them, but they're not looking at him because he can't fit in the seat. Like I don't think anyone has ever looked at my husband like that. They've looked at him for other reasons. That's because he's good looking. The naivety of being 18. Anyway, that's where I'm at the moment. 50% in. I'm hoping to finish this probably. I'm hoping to finish it tonight and then maybe update you tomorrow. I'm going to try and get one more book in for you guys because I do feel bad about DNFing 5,000 Nights of Obsession. And I think I have a little bit more time to get this video done. Fingers crossed. So I'm going to see if I can make that happen. I'm going to go film a video and finish this book and update you hopefully tomorrow. See you soon.
All right, hopefully I have enough memory left that I can actually update you. I don't know why I've chosen this angle, but here we are. So I did end up finishing Bound by Honor by Cora Riley. So I ended up liking the third act action that happened. I thought that was really fun. There was one more incident where I really felt the heroine's age. I just wanted to like shake her and be like, hey girl, how about you talk to him instead of getting upset and raging against him and then like causing this big fight. Could have been a misunderstanding that could get cleared up. And then that issue didn't really seem like it went very far. I was really perplexed by why that was included because I just didn't think that really went anywhere. It just sort of like eventually they just got over it. I don't really know. I did like how like slow and gentle we really got to see Luca be, but also got some opportunities to see that the heroine could kind of match his like darker side as well. They sort of like came together a little bit more and you could see how actually they are a pretty good match overall. Also, I think I've been saying that she's the Capo's daughter. She's not the Capo's daughter. She's the Consiglier's daughter. I don't know how to pronounce that, but some other big guy in the Chicago outfit. I'm excited to see where the next books go. I'm a little nervous because Gianna made another appearance. Favorite character, Gianna. But hopefully once we get to her book, she's a little bit more my speed. I'm sure she's one of those that once she's a main character, I'll feel fine about her. But like as a side character, I don't like her. I think overall I'm giving it a rating of 4 stars. I feel pretty good about it. I don't know what my next book is going to be. We'll come back at you when I'm about 50% into that book and let you know what it's about and what my thoughts are. See you soon.
All right. Hello, friends. It has been over a week since I last updated you. I had the best of intentions to provide you with another book for this vlog, but it is not happening. It just seems like 2025 is not the year for me, and I just had to take like a little bit of a break. And then about the time that I was starting to feel like, okay, you know what? I'm in a better headspace. Let's get going on that next book. The plague has entered my home.
Ooh, quick point of clarification. It's a plague, a seasonal illness, not the plague. So hopefully you understand my meaning.
I am at the grocery store right now, so sorry about the cars if you can hear them, and I am going to pick up stuff because I am anticipating that although I am not sick yet, my husband is very, very ill at the moment, so I need stuff for him, and inevitably I will need things for me because I'm probably going to catch it too. With that said, God of War, I think, restored some faith in my ability to potentially read Rena Kent in the future, I might give God of Malice another go because I enjoyed the story. It's not like an all-time favorite or anything like that. I think it's like a solid 3.5. I had a good time. Nothing super to write home about. It's not like terribly, terribly dark. It's great if you really like an alpha male. It sort of gives like a little bit of billionaire energy just because of the amount of money these people have. And if you like the amnesia trope, give it a go. Although I like other books that have this trope a lot better. 5,000 Nights of Obsession by Drethy A. If you don't have issues with character inconsistencies like I do, or can kind of get past like some like weird quirks with the heroine, by all means, give it a go. I think that's probably a me thing more than it is like a book thing. And then Bound by Honor, that one, if you like a mafia story and you're okay with kind of an immature heroine, you like that age gap, you like that alpha hero, I think you'll really like this one. This definitely feels like the blueprint that a lot of other mafia stories were based off of. It possesses a lot of typical tropes that we think of for the genre. This was written pre all of the tropey online marketing that you see nowadays, and so it feels more like an original, like a story that happens to have those tropes rather than written to those tropes. So I definitely want to continue on in that series. I feel like they're very popcorn reads, and it's like something about it just calls to my younger self. Like, I think if I was like a lot younger, I would enjoy the series even more. So there is this kind of like instant nostalgia that I have. I'm definitely continuing on in that series, although it's not like my favorite mafia series by any means. With all of that, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for putting up with the chaos. I'm so sorry that this vlog did not turn out how I anticipated. But, you know, sometimes life is like that. Comment below, let me know if you've read any of these books. Don't forget to like this video if you did end up liking it. Subscribe if you want more content from me. And I really, really hope I see you on my next video because I promise they're a lot less chaotic than this. It's just a rough start to the year, y'all. Bye-bye!